Some things could never be rebuilt.
Seems like Microsoft is teaching us a masterclass in greed and stupidity. When you have a failing company, the brilliant idea would be to lower your prices and try to get your product into more people's hands. That way you can build up trust, which is something Microsoft lost a long time ago because of the Kinect and the Red Ring of Death. Let's not forget that Microsoft's solution to the Red Ring of Death was to simply remove the red LEDs from the system. Even when they released the Elite and Slim versions of the system, they would still fail. And if it wasn't a Red Ring of Death issue, it was the disk drive, which also had a high failure rate. That lack of trust has led them to being almost irrelevant at this point in gaming. That and the fact that they have fumbled game after game since Gears of War 3, which was the last great game that they released.
You're gonna blow up the whole ship, genius! Get clear! Jump!
It seems like once Microsoft lost Bungie and Epic, they went downhill extremely fast. And a lot of it is their own fault. They got rid of Lionhead Studios, which I don't understand because they created Fable, one of the biggest strengths of the Xbox brand. We've all seen what the new Fable looks like, and it doesn't look like Fable at all. It just looks like an average wannabe Witcher clone. But let's get to the main topic here, which is Microsoft's brilliant idea to keep charging more and more for everything. They have upped the price of their games, which doesn't make sense. The games aren't selling well anyways, so why would you increase the price? That's just going to make them even harder to sell. But I have a theory on that, which I'll get to in a minute. Then you have the dumb idea of upping the price of consoles. Of course, they blamed it on tariffs, which isn't true because they upped the price before the tariffs even went into effect. If that were really the case, you would think that other products would have gone up the exact same amount. PlayStation went up in price, but that was earlier and it was because of inflation, not tariffs. PlayStation has sold enough consoles to where they can keep their prices relatively stable, even with the massive inflation. Now, that could change in the future. I hope it doesn't, but what Microsoft is saying is basically a lie. Either that or they don't know how to run a business anymore, and they are just getting ripped off by everybody, which is a real possibility. And now they have an Xbox handheld that also costs $1,000 for the top-end model. That is insanity. There is not a chance that I would ever pay $1,000 for a handheld console or even a normal console.
Baird, any way we can slow this thing down? Oh, it'll slow right down when we crash.
This all leads me to believe that they are upping the prices for a very specific reason. They don't want you to own the consoles. They don't care about the consoles or the handheld. Their biggest goal is to shift everything over to Game Pass. Think of it like this. They up the price on their games, making it harder for people to buy them. They up the price on their consoles, making it harder for people to buy them. This means that if you already have a PC, you could just get Game Pass and play their games on it, or stream them on your PC, if you don't have capable hardware to play the games. Microsoft's ultimate goal is to get Game Pass on PlayStation, Nintendo, and any other platform that they can, which is probably not going to happen at this point because Microsoft has now upped the price of Game Pass itself. You know, that service that they said was profitable and sustainable a while back, which we've come to find out that that's a lie because they weren't even counting their own production cost in that. In other words, the budget for making a game, what they pay their studios, development costs, bills, electricities, dev kits, and everything else Microsoft has to put into it, none of those were counted as part of the Game Pass numbers. They are fudging their financial numbers big time just to get shareholders and investors on board. It's crooked, it's a scam, and it really should be illegal. I think it was earlier this year that they already upped the Game Pass price once, and now they're upping it again to $30 a month for a premium version that includes the day one releases. Now they are adding in Ubisoft Plus and EA Play day one games to this tier, but $30 a month with no yearly subscription discount? This is not going to end well for them. It seems like they want to scrap the Xbox brand altogether. They want Game Pass to be the brand and Xbox to die off. But at this rate, they're not even going to have Game Pass as a brand. $30 a month is a lot. That's $360 a year. That's a lot of money for a service that offers some pretty rough day one games most of the time. Microsoft doesn't have a roster of games that is worth paying that for yearly, and adding Ubisoft and EA really doesn't boost its value much, because their games have been going downhill lately as well.
Never thought it would end like this, huh? Huh, Maria? Tom! No!
For comparison, PlayStation Plus Premium for the yearly bundle is around $160 or $169. You're looking at nearly $200 more for a service where the only thing you get that PlayStation doesn't offer is the day one games. But it also has much worse cloud gaming than PS Plus. On PlayStation Plus, I can stream at 4K quality with around 7 to 10 milliseconds of lag for most games. That's pretty good. It's actually great. And the picture quality looks good too. Xbox, on the other hand, is horribly laggy. I would say that the image barely even hits 720p at times. It is extremely blocky and noisy, and it stutters. It might look good on a phone-sized screen, but it is absolutely terrible on a monitor. The service did offer a pretty good value when it initially released, with the rare day one games that you got. But now they have jumped the price, because they spent an absurd amount of money acquiring massive studios that cut into their actual sales numbers by being on Game Pass, so they are struggling even more. This is the inevitable result of this. Their price is going to go up even more than this. I would not be surprised if by next year we see a $50 Game Pass tier, if Microsoft even stays around that long in gaming.
Anya? Oh, you've changed. Where's Marcus? Did Marcus make it?
And I know that the best thing that people have always said about the Xbox Series X is the backwards compatibility. And it is pretty good, but it's not as good as everybody claims. There are a ton of games that are not playable on Series systems. Many of the original Xbox games that I would want to play don't exist on there. Now, this makes the PlayStation Plus Premium Collection look even better by comparison, as they are now emulating PS1 and PS2 games, adding 2 to 3 new classics every month. The library is quickly growing, and over a couple years, who knows how much content is going to be inside Premium, which also doesn't mean that the price will stay the same there, which is why these services in general are bad. I don't know what Microsoft is thinking right now. It seems like their only goal is to try and make up for losses by just increasing the cost, but that isn't the best way to do it. So this is something probably a lot of people don't remember. I specifically remember Cliff Basinski, or Cliffy B, talking about Gears of War. He said if it were up to him, he would have released the game at $20. His reasoning was simple. You might get 1 million people to buy it, but at $20, you might get 10 million people to buy it, making you even more money. That was his basic logic behind releasing a game cheaper versus a more expensive one. At this point, game prices should be going down, not up. Development is easier than ever before. Yes, it is still a complicated and difficult thing, but it is much easier. We have now seen games developed by a single person and small teams again, just like they had back on the PS1 and PS2 days, and they are making killer products. So the excuse that your costs keep going up is only because you keep making them go up. Maybe Microsoft will find somebody in the company that knows about video games and wants to make great ones again. But at this point, it seems like a lost cause. And it sucks because we need the competition. But right now, Microsoft has taken themselves out of it. Anyway, what do you think? Is Microsoft going downhill faster than we could have ever expected? Or are they making the right moves? Let me know in the comments. Would you kindly leave a like and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later.
What's left on you? What have we got left now?